That fucking call center calls me one more time, I swear to God. Hey everybody, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Me, Muda, and as you can tell, it's currently the light out right now. We've got some light hitting me instead of the good old strip club lights, as you guys like to say. But ladies and gentlemen, despite all that being said, Destiny 2 is a game totally worth getting, and you know what? It is tickling my pickle, so to speak. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to start this video off by saying, fuck Activision, alright? I don't like Activision, alright? I don't think I've ever liked Activision. I mean, I've liked them more than EA, but that ain't saying much, okay? EA pretty much at this point splits cats in half, for crying out loud. At least when it comes to managing their video games, or storefronts, rather, I should say, not video games. But Modern Warfare is one of those games that I was really excited to get. Unfortunately, because of Activision's nonsense, and including Sony as well, I decided to cancel my pre-order. I mean, there's no point. I'm not going to support it. I took my money back. Now, at the end of the day, is that going to change anything? Probably not. But what I did change, at least for me, was playing a totally different game and coming to accept that I actually do like looter shooters a lot. Now, I know I've been angry, here and there, and a lot of people like me when I'm angry. Some Bruce Banner shit, I guess. Seeing me get my blood pressure raised makes sure fucking pickles tickle. But let me tell you, Destiny 2, alright, looter shooters are making me really happy. Now, there's been a lot of good looter shooters that have come out, things like Borderlands fucking 2, Division 2, which came out last year at this point, have been a fun time. Last year? It has been a fun time, at least for me when it comes to it. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm special or some shit like that, but I like seeing colors on my screen. I like seeing the numbers go up, alright? I sound like a kid that you can dangle your keys in front of, and I probably enjoy it. And you know what? I've come to accept my disabilities at this point. But ladies and gentlemen, Destiny 2, I'm going to give a little bit of a review type deal, sort of give you a little primer. Now, Destiny 2 visually, at this point, getting back into it, looks amazing, all right? It makes me feel like my graphic card purchase was worth it, all right? It makes the crippling debt somewhat okay. But ladies and gentlemen, this game's art style is something to hit for. Now, I purchased a new DLC, Shadowkeep, and we'll talk about DLCs later, and I've been enjoying the visual front so far. The story has been enjoyable, but I'm going to be real. I don't give a shit about any looter shooter story that I play, whether it be Destiny. You don't give a crap about Borderlands 3, story-wise at least. And Division 2 might be the only thing that I give a crap about, but I'll tell you this much, at least the DLC I'm playing has been interesting. Interesting because the worlds look good. The art style is where it's at. Now, I know it's a month till Death Stranding, but I'm getting the Death Stranding vibes in this game right now, and I guess for Spooktober it manages to capture itself just fine. If only Bungie could pop in a couple skeletons, it'd be the ultimate survival horror experience. But visually, Destiny 2 has been an absolutely amazing time, and I gotta be honest with you, if I could buy a version of this game that was just walking around this art design, I probably just would, because the world is designed so well that it has been sucking me in just to see more and more of it. Now, you go back to the moon in this game, which if you play Destiny 1 like I have and a lot of other people, then you'll know that this is a pretty nostalgic event for you. Nostalgic being that you saw it a few years back. Now, this moon and this rendition of it is pretty well done. You'll see a lot of similar locations, but there's going to be a lot of new locations, ones that come really early on that immediately entrap you with how gorgeous they look and whatnot. And while the gameplay for Destiny 2 still relies on that same sort of loop, you go from point A to point B, there's a lot of enemies in between, sometimes there's wave defense. What's interesting about the gameplay in this side of things is that it might be one of the most refined looter shooters that exist out there. Now, I've played a lot of these games, and Destiny 2 is the only one where, I feel once you get to that end game, at least, territory, and you're really fine-tuning your skills, it becomes like a symphony of violence, if you will. The gameplay just works together so well. I'm playing Warlock right now, but once I'm done the Shadowkeep DLC, and I'll probably end up buying the Forsaken DLC as well, I actually can't wait to start this game off as a Titan again and sort of do the whole grind, just because it's so enjoyable, and because the actual character development and the character trees in this game do give each character some differences to see. It's not very static like you see in other looter shooters out there. Another point for Borderlands 3 in this situation is the same thing. These games have really in-depth skill trees, and you'll probably be really dealing around with fine-tuning builds for hours on end. So I think on the gameplay front, this game does work really well. And it's one of the reasons why I've already put 10 hours into the game, even though it's just been out for a day on Steam. I think it's a sick, depraved addiction, but it's an addiction that I don't want to admit and I don't want to give a crap about. I kind of just want to get back into the world of Destiny. I kind of want to stream this world and cover more of it because the gameplay works really well. Story-wise, I don't actually care too much about this game, and it's one of those things that I wish Bungie worked on just a little bit more. It's a lot better than the first Destiny game, because if you remember the first Destiny game, they gave you fucking trading cards so you had to read on the internet. While Destiny 2 solves a lot of that, I feel like the world is... I like it. You know, it's definitely got that, hey, here's some current day type weapon deals going on. Here's sort of like a mix of everything. It's a very fantasy style look at a sci-fi in the very far future, I would say. It's definitely an interesting story, but it's one that, because of my renewed interest, I'm really going to have to go back to the whole franchise. I mean, download Destiny 1 again and sort of play the whole franchise from start to finish and sort of ascertain that. But at the end of the day, I wonder how important that is really for me, because I'm one of those people that has skipped every cutscene in Diablo 3 anyways, and like I said, I could care less about that game's story. I'm mostly into playing, you know, full-on runs through a night, and that's just literally about it. The only story that I could kind of care for is Division 2, but that's just because of world I enjoy. Now, with Destiny 2, I hope to get back into that more and more and more as I cover it. Now, here's the big point of deal, the big meaty part about this is the split from Activision. Now, Activision split this game off and Bungie off because apparently Destiny wasn't performing too well under their specifications. Like, I guess it wasn't fucking bringing in enough money. You know, like, I guess that makes sense when you factor in the hundreds of millions of dollars that get put into development and advertising. Yeah, it's kind of a shame how your big fucking cash pit doesn't exactly make a lot of money back immediately to cover those costs. Now, when I played Destiny 2 on the Blizzard storefront, when it was a full Activision product, before the split, I can tell you very much it had some really, really terrible microtransaction practices. We're talking cosmetic loot boxes, from what I remember of the Eververse, and immediately signing back onto this game, and I've seen this somewhat before, but I've noticed that the microtransactions have been toned back a fair bit, and I think they've been toned back ever since the split occurred, when Activision wasn't exactly sure that they were going to even make a cent off this game or worry about it in the near future. So, when I was going into the store and I went to the Eververse, for instance, right, there was one like nostalgic loot box to get, but I have not been seeing any other loot box. Yes, there are microtransactionable currencies like silver still available that you can buy previous season like microtransactions with, but as far as I can tell, a lot of these things are just cosmetics. There might actually be like a stat changing item in here, but I don't think so. I think every single thing in the Eververse is cosmetic, which, trust me, I don't like either. I remember the day and era when every fucking cosmetic used to be unlockable, you know, with, what was that thing? Oh yeah, actually playing the game. And in this game, it's a lot better than getting cosmetic loot boxes, because with cosmetic loot boxes, nobody fucking wins. Nobody ever wins, okay? Have you ever tried unboxing like 50 alpha packs? Tell me how many like common drops you get, okay? Let's be fucking real here. So I gotta say, from the microtransaction storefront, this game has definitely seen an update. And another big update is I can actually get the goddamn DLCs. You remember when I was playing this game, like, I think in 2017? I actually played this game recently with a friend of mine named Tyler, and we had come across the fact that Activision Blizzard would have to make me repurchase the entire game to buy a $39 DLC, which I can now finally buy on its own anyway, so congratulations. It just required waiting, Activision. Way to cuck me out of playing a game as actively. But now I'm back, now I'm ready, I bought this expansion pack and I'm getting into it. And one thing that I also have to say too is from a content standpoint, I think free-to-play players are actually getting a fair bit of good times here, because I believe every single location is accessible. The entire original game storyline is available, along with the 2 expansions that came after it. Everything before Forsaken and Shadowkeep is technically available for every player free, and with cross-save and things like that, I can definitely see myself getting into this game, playing it both on my console here on my downtime and on my main terminal here and there. So I gotta say, man, I'm having a good time. I feel like the happy video game nerd right now. I actually came across a product that is pretty respectable, especially in today's day and age. And it literally took the splitting of Bungie and its parent company to deal with. I hope that this game gets better as time goes on. I mean, it's great right now, but I hope that it continues to evolve further and further. And if this is the pace that Destiny 2 is already at, I honestly cannot wait to get my hands on Destiny 3. It's already giving me vibes that I had when I first played Rainbow Six Siege. I know they're 2 separately different games, but there's something about a game that can make you immediately click and understand and say, you know what? This might actually be a release worth getting into. So At the end of the day, the game looks amazing. The story is questionable, which is the only downside to me, and that's just because I don't have a lot of interest to it. But the gameplay, which I must say is the most important factor of a video game, is actually pretty well done. And, you know, I gotta give a reviewer credit as due. If a game can make me play for 10 hours now and ignore life responsibilities, I think it's a really great game. And that's just what I'm saying at this point. I hope that as we continue to go on in years, this game does evolve. We see Destiny 3 and whatnot. And honestly, if you wanted to give a big fucking middle finger out to Activision, buying this game over Modern Warfare may actually be the one thing to do it. I know they're two separately different games, but look, I like the new Modern Warfare, trust me. I even like the current day Infinity Ward for doing all that. But at this point, I can't give money to their parent company, Activision, for a fucking shit and a half. And especially now when we got a game that is the same for every platform that pays for it, I got to be supportive of it. So I'm glad to see that my faith in Bungie has been even more renewed. You know, I haven't liked a Bungie game since Halo Reach, if I'll be honest with you. And I think Destiny 2 might be the next Bungie game that I'm actually getting back into. I mean, it feels like 2009 all over again, when Bungie and Infinity Ward are on the tip of everyone's tongues. But that being said, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. You all know I'm just going to go log back into Destiny 2, so I am out.